All right, so again, it is day 6. We're back from our break, and now we're going to look at our practice quiz. And again, I'm going to recommend you write everything that I write, except for don't write guide, write your name. Hang on, let me pause this. Okay, so the first number here, number 1, it says measure the line segment in inches, then construct the perpendicular bisector. So there's 2 steps. Make sure you're reading the directions on each question so you don't just do one part. So we're going to measure with our ruler first. I'll zoom in real close. Okay, so I'm going to take my ruler, and do I have it lined up properly? No. What about now? Okay, so here is what I like to do. I might even push it a little farther up. Sometimes it helps to put the line under the ruler since these are see-through. Kind of helps you see exactly where it lands. And I'm going to take a pencil and mark how many lines it goes over. So here's where the end of that is. Then there's 1, 2, and here's my 2 inches marker. So all of these little dashes, remember that they each represent 1/16 of an inch, and there's 16 of them in an inch. So if it is 16/16, I'm going to count backwards. 15, 14, 13/16 is where we land. So what would the measure of this line segment be? Oh, you're okay. 1 inch and how many 16ths? I got 13. Yeah. You said 5? 10? Let's see. You guys have your giant inches? What I do when I'm counting is you could also start from 1 right here, and then let's count how many spaces over. 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13/16. Everybody see how we got that? So your answer would be 1 and 13/16 of an inch. You can either do the 2 dashes or you can write IN. Okay. Is anybody unsure how we got that, or do we feel okay? Okay. Make sure this is a great time to ask questions. This practice quiz is a wonderful time to do that. Okay. So I'm going to just erase these markings so they're not in my way. So we've done the first part of number 1. Now the next step, it says we need to construct the perpendicular bisector. So here is where I would definitely, very carefully, put everything that I put on my paper, because I'm going to give you a guide so that whenever you do a perpendicular bisector on your quiz, you'll have exactly what to do. Yes, that's perfect. Beautiful. Okay, so remember, your starting point when you're making a perpendicular bisector is to put the tip of your compass on one of the ends of your line segment. And how far open should my compass be? Yes, make sure that it's open more than half of this line segment. If it's too small, it won't work. If it's too big, it won't work. We want to make it a little more than half. And then we're going to draw an arc. Like that. step 1, draw the arc. Step 2, same thing, but on the other end. Now, before you do this, I would recommend remeasuring, because I just put my thing down and look at that. It was not the same size as my previous arc. So I'm going to adjust my compass and make sure that it is open at the same distance as the first one. Okay, now I'm going to hold it there, flip it to the other side, and draw another arc. Now you're really just needing the intersections right here and down here. You could draw the whole arc. You don't have to though. Let me turn my paper around. These are tricky. Oop. I almost did it wrong in front of you guys. There we go. Okay, so 2 arcs. And then 2 intersections. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark these intersections. And what am I going to do with these intersections? Connect them. I'm going to take my ruler or a straight edge and just draw a line through those little points that we just made. Okay. Now we're almost done. We also need to show that this is perpendicular by showing that this created a 90-degree angle. So, how do I show that this is 90 degrees? Put a little square in it. Good. So, if you don't put the little square in your bisector, you're going to lose half a point. Put your square in there, okay? And there's one more thing we need. We need to show that it is a bisector, that it split this in half perfectly. So we need to mark both of these new segments as equal. And we can do that with these little tick marks. 1 on each, or you could do 2 on each if you just think that looks cooler. And then you're done. So over to the side, I'm going to give you a guide of what I will be looking for when I grade this, so that there are no questions about it. So you will get half a point for marking that your lines are equal on both sides. You will get half a point for putting that little square in your bisector. You will get 1 point for, let's see, I'm going to draw this. You're going to get 1 point for your bisector actually crossing through those intersections. So like if your line is way off, you're not going to get the point. As long as it's going through those intersections pretty well, you will get that correct. You'll also get a point for having the correct measurement in inches. And you'll get half a point just for saying that it is inches by either doing the 2 dashes or writing IN. Okay, so this question is worth 3.5 points. And here's how you get all 3.5 points. Okay. Any questions about number 1, how to do it, or where any of those points will be coming from? All right, so let's go ahead to number 2. And number 2 is just worth 1 point. Is C? It is C, 50 degrees. This is worth 1 point, and I'm going to show you how we found that it's C.
So the protractor's a little bit off, Robbie.
Yes, yes, and we're just gonna measure it to the nearest degree, and that's why I made it multiple choice, just because these protractors are not super accurate, so I would rather you guys not feel stressed out about getting it perfect. So we're just gonna line it up, and whenever we are measuring an angle, how can we tell that this is 50 degrees and not 130 degrees?
Because the angle's opening from that.
Yeah, because the angle is starting over here. It's pointing to the left, and so it opens up this way. So we're going to count from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We can also see this is an acute angle, right? And acute angles are less than 90, so it couldn't be 130, that'd be more than 90. Okay. Any questions about number 2? Okay, so that's it for the first page. We'll go ahead to the second page. Number 3 is you're going to construct an angle bisector. And this one will be worth 4 points, and I'll show you where each of those points will come from. Now, your very first step is to take the point of your compass, and where will I place it first? Yes, on the vertex. That's the first spot I put it on, is my vertex. And I like to do a smaller arc for angles, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter how big you do an angle. So we're going to start with an arc, and this compass is so loose, it's going to mess me up. Let me try this. Okay, so we're going to make an arc, and your arc just needs to be crossing through both of the rays that make up your angle, so that we create 2 new intersections there. So I'm going to mark those intersections. And the first point you'll get for this question is for having that arc drawn. The next point you'll get is for what comes next, which is, now we're going to take our compass, and where will I put the points for the next step? Yeah, on the points that we just made, those intersections that we created in step 1. So I'm going to take my compass, put the point right there on that intersection, and where should I be drawing an arc? Inside the angle or outside the angle? Yes, inside the angle. We're trying to make another intersection inside. Okay, so I drew an arc, and I just need to do the same thing off the other intersection. So I'm just going to remeasure, make sure I've got it open the right size, put it over here, and cross it. So that's your next point, is for having this intersection right here. Okay. So now I have a new intersection, and what do I do next? Yes. Yes, all we do now is connect that intersection in the middle to the vertex. We're going to draw another ray going through both of these. Okay, so you will get another point on this problem for your bisector, making sure that it goes through the vertex and that intersection that we made. Now, this is just 3 points so far. Here's where you get the 4th point. Don't forget to do this. Just like on our perpendicular bisector on the previous page, we needed to mark that our segments were equal. Now we need to mark that these angles are equal. How can we mark that 2 angles are equal?
The things.
Yeah, the things. Arcs. We're going to draw arcs. Now there is one big arc, but that represents the whole angle. We want to draw some smaller arcs to represent the 2 smaller angles we just created. So I'm just going to put an arc here. If you want it to be different, you could put 2 arcs. And then just make sure however many you put on one, you do the same amount on the other. So I put 2 here. I'm going to put 1, 2 on that one. So you will need to remember to do that. So that's why I'm kind of giving you this guide off to the side here. Put your arcs. Maybe even write a note. Don't forget arcs. Okay, so that is number 3. I'll keep that up while you guys copy that down. And as you are doing that, let me know if you have any questions or if anything that I've written doesn't quite make sense to you. This is the best time to ask questions, is during a practice quiz. Now, if you want to go back to your notes where we made a guide for this, if you remember, I'm going to pull mine out. Last week on day 4, it was a Thursday, I had you guys create a guide on the back of a Do Now. It was on the back of this paper. Let me see if I can find mine. I told you that would be a good thing to hold on to. Would be nice if I had mine. It's somewhere around here. Where did I put it? Okay, well, it exists. I need to find it. Let's see. Okay, I stuck it in this week's folder. No. Well, do any of you have that guide handy that I could just pop on the screen so everybody knows what I'm talking about?
I don't even remember that.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
What paper are you talking
Last Thursday, after our Do Now, I had us make a guide for how to do an angle bisector, and it was, there it is. Okay, you rock. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so here's just a quick example of that, where we kind of wrote out the 3 steps. So if you can find this in your notes from that day, or if you don't have this, maybe you weren't here, go back to day 4 in Google Classroom, and there is a video of us creating this guide. You can absolutely use that video to help you make your own guide. So, I know sometimes the angle bisector can be a little tricky. Thank you. Okay, any questions about that before we go to the next section? Okay, so number 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all problems where we are solving for x with angles. Now, I apologize, I did not give you a ton of room to solve your, do your work. So I think I'm actually going to write my work on a sticky note for each problem. And I'm going to look at number 4 first. So for number 4, I've got 2 angles. Are these angles equal? No. How do you know that?
Because one has 2 arcs and the other has
Yeah, one has 2 arcs, one only has 1 arc, and they're also pretty obviously not the same size. So how could I solve for x with these 2 angles here?
X plus 12 plus 147 equals 180.
Yes, yes. Now, these 2 angles form a straight line. Anytime angles form a straight line, that means this whole big angle is 180 degrees. So I should be able to add them up together and set them equal to 180. So we're going to do that. I'm going to call x plus 12 angle A, 147 is angle B, and I know that A plus B equals 180. So I can just write x plus 12 instead of A, and 147 instead of B, and set that equal to 180. So I have an equation written. X plus 12 plus 147 equals 180. What should I do first in this equation? Yeah, 12 and 147, these are like terms. So we are going to add them together since they're on the same side of the equal sign. What is 12 plus 147? 159. Good. Okay, so now I have x plus 159 equals 180. Good, and then we just subtract 159 from both sides. Okay, my 159's cancel and I get x equals 21. Perfect. So number 4, x is 21. Okay. Any questions on number 4? All right, I'm going to move to number 5 then. Now, number 5, before I get started, I'm going to actually label all my angles A, B, C. I'm going to call 287 degree angle A, 43 I'll call angle B, and then the x minus 116, that will be my C. What do I know about angles like this? How would I start this? We talked about these yesterday.
Gonna be x minus 116 plus 43 plus 20, 287 equals 360.
Yes, yes. So these 3 angles will add up to 360 degrees because they are completing one full rotation. If I started here at angle A, I go all the way around 287 degrees, or I guess I could start here, and then I go 43 more degrees, and then I finish and get a full 360 degrees. Angles around a point make a circle, a full 360 degrees. So let's write that equation. A plus B plus C equals 360. And technically you could write these out in any order, I know some people like to put the x first, so I might actually do that. X minus 116 plus 43 plus 287 equals 360. Now, a problem like this might look a little bit tricky, or it might look really easy, but there actually is a part of it that can be a little tricky, because we have minus a number. Whenever we combine our like terms, we can't just add 116 plus 43 plus 287.
You have to add 287 to 43 and then subtract that. from
Yes,
116.
yes. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So we really want to think of 116 as negative 116 since it's being taken away. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, cool. So if I combine my like terms first, I've got 287 plus 43, and I'm just going to do those first. You could do it all at once, but I'm going to do those first. I'm going to type that in. 43 plus 287. I got 330. Okay, so I've done that. What should I bring down from here? Minus 116. X minus 116 plus 330 equals 360. So now I'm going to do 330 minus 116. Okay? Because I'm really doing negative 116 plus 330. I can do it that way too. I'll show you both ways. Negative 116 plus 330. I'm going to get 214. If I do 330 minus 116, I'm also going to get 214. Both ways work. Just make sure that you don't forget that negative sign. Okay, so we've combined these. And now I have, is it x plus 214 or x minus 214? Plus. Good, it's positive. Equals 360. What's my last step? Good, subtract 214 from both sides. X equals 146. Perfect. Okay, that's number 5. X equals 146. Okay. Any questions on 5? We got that? Okay, now 6 and 7 are both going to be solved in a very similar way. Number 6, how would I set this one up? Yes, they're equal. These angles both have just one arc. We can also see that we have parallel lines right here and a transversal. And so these angles are in the same position. They're corresponding angles. So they're equal. 140 equals 5x. And how do I solve for x? Divide divide by 5, and that's it. Okay, and you should get x equals 28.
How'd you get that? Like, out of all of the bonds you have?
How did I write this equation?
Yeah.
Okay, so the way that I'm writing this equation is I'm always asking myself, are the angles equal to each other or do they add up to something? Since number 4 and 5, all of these angles had different arcs. Like that one had 2, that one had 1, this one had 3, 2, 1. I'm adding them up and setting them equal to something. These angles are equal to each other. So to solve for x, I know that this angle is 140 degrees. I know this angle is also 140 degrees. So 5x equals 140 degrees. And we'll use that to solve for x. That cleared up? Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Not a bad notes, right? These are corresponding angles. Okay, and number 7. How would I set this one up?
152 is equal to 10x plus 2.
Perfect. These angles are also equal to each other. 152 is equal to 10x plus 2. We can tell because of the equal number of arcs. We can also tell because, does anybody remember what these types of angles are when they're right across from each other? Very close. Starts with a V. Vertical angles. Good. Vertical angles. Okay, so I have my equation 152 equals 10x plus 2. How do I solve it?
Subtract 2 from both sides.
Good. Subtract 2 from both sides.
150 equals 10x.
Okay. Perfect. Divide by 10.
Which is even perfect.
Good. X equals 15. All right. That is everything on page 2. We're already halfway done. And I'll just leave that up for a moment. Okay, can we go to page 3? I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so you just have 4 more angles to solve. 4 more.
That one equals 180.
Yes. How do you know?
Not a straight line.
Yes. These 2 angles form a straight line. So they form 180 degrees, meaning they will add up to 180. So, what equation should I write?
69 plus 5x plus 1 equals 1.
Good. 69 plus 5x plus 1 equals 180. And from here, what would I do next? Got my equation written. Yes.
Or add 1 to 0.
Yes, add your like terms, 61 and 9, which will give you 70. So 70 plus 5x equals 180. And where do we go from here?
Subtract 70.
Mm-hmm. Subtract 70. And
5x equals 110.
good. 5x equals 110.
Divide by 5.
Divide by 5. Beautiful.
And you'll get 22.
And you will get, yes, x equals, you said 23 or 22. Yep, you're right, 22. Perfect. That is number 8. Now, number 9. What's going on with these angles?
It equals 360.
Yes, we have angles around a point. Again, if I started at any of these, goes through x, goes through 4x, goes through 116, it makes a circle. This is 360 degrees. So, I'm going to get a sticky note again. I took up a lot of space with that circle. So what equation would I write? There's multiple correct answers here. Yes. You could do 116 plus x plus 4x equals 360. You could also do x plus 4x plus 116. You could do 4x plus x plus 116. When you're adding, you can switch those things that you're adding and put them in any order. It won't make a difference. Okay? Now what? Yes, combine like terms. I've got x's. What is x plus 4x? 5x. Okay, I'll bring everything else down. 116 plus 5x equals 360. Good, yes, subtract 116. Okay, 5x equals 244. Divide by 5. Perfect. X equals 48.8. And that would be your answer for number 9. Okay. Any questions about that one? Okay, 2 more. We can do it. I want to scooch up to number 10. Number 10. What's going on here? They are equal. We've got corresponding angles. So, what equation will I write?
94 equals 6x plus 4 or vice versa.
Good. 94 equals 6x plus 4. You could also do 6x plus 4 equals 94. And where do I go from here? What should we do next?
Oh, sorry.
You're okay. You're carrying the class. I appreciate you. -4 on both sides. Okay. That gives us 90 equals 6 times x. And one last step. Good. We have 6 times x, so we're going to do the opposite and divide by 6 on both sides. So what is 90 divided by 6? 15. Good. That's our answer for x. Beautiful. Okay. Last one with the angles. Number 11. What do we have going on here? I've got 3 angles this time. Yeah, they're all gonna add up to 180. They're making a straight line here. Normally we just add 2, but you can add 3 as well. This is 180 degrees here, total. So, since these 3 angles add up to 180 degrees, what is a possible equation I could write? Yes, perfect. We can just write them all in order like that. 89 plus 3x plus 1 plus 2x plus 20 equals 180. This one is long. Now, is there anything I can do to kind of simplify this? Can anything be combined? Yes, 3x and 2x. And when I add those together, I get what? 5x. Good. Can I combine anything else?
89.
Yep, 89 and 20. And there's one more I can combine actually.
Oh,
The 1, good. So 89 plus 1 is 90 plus 20, that's 110. So I'm going to write 5x plus 110 equals 180. And now this problem looks a lot less crazy. Perfect. Minus 110 on both sides. Those will cancel. And 180 minus 110, let's see, what will that give us? 70, good. So 70 equals, I'll bring down my 5x. And one more step.
70.
Perfect, 70 divided by 5. And we're going to get x equals 14. Perfect. Perfect. Good. Okay. Whew, a lot of equations, guys. You're done with the angles. That was the worst part, probably. So, very last page. Nope, just kidding. 2 more pages. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. There are only 4 more questions, though, and that is it for the whole thing. And remember, you'll have 3 hours to take this quiz. Plenty of time. So, now we are on page 4, and we are doing midpoint. Now, first thing I will recommend is write the midpoint formula on this practice quiz. That way you don't have to go digging through your notes to find it. So, midpoint, I'm going to underline that. And up at the top here, I'm going to write midpoint formula. And remember, the midpoint formula is the one where we are going to come up with 2 values, an x value and a y value. So, we're coming up with a coordinate. Where we add the x's and we add the y's and we divide them both by 2. So I'm just going to put this at the top of my page again. And x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And then y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So I've got my formula here. And again, I would recommend do that on yours so that you have it. Okay. Now, for number 12, this time I gave you a graph. I did not give you the coordinates themselves. So we actually need to name these points first. It doesn't matter which one is your first point or which one is your second, but we do need to make sure we have our X and our Y in the correct spot. So I'm just going to call this point the top one. I'm actually not going to label it, never mind. I just want to find the X value of the top point. So what would the X value be for my higher point? 2. Good. And my Y? 4. So this first point here is 2, 4. And my next point down here, what's the X value? -5, perfect. And my Y value? -3, beautiful. Okay, so we have everything all nice and written out. And I'm just gonna pull these points out and write them over to the side just to help me stay organized. -5, comma, -3, 2, comma, 4. And I will label them as XY, XY. X1, X2, Y1, Y2. And we just did a ton of practice with this today, so it should be nice and fresh in your mind. So I would like for you guys to work that one out. I'll work it out up here and check your answer with mine. Make sure we get the same thing. But I'm going to go ahead and start plugging these numbers in. So x1 plus x2 would be -5 plus 2 divided by 2. y1, y2, -3 plus 4 divided by 2. Okay. -5 plus 2 is -3 over 2. And -3 plus 4 is 1 over 2. So here is my midpoint. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay. All right, is anybody still working on number 12? Some of you, it looks like you've moved on, so perfect. Number 12, you should have gotten -1.5, comma, 0.5. Make sure you put this in parentheses because it is a coordinate. Okay, so there you go. Now we'll look at number 13. It's the exact same thing, except for we're not using a graph. You're just going to plug the numbers in and use the formula. So I'll work this one out quietly up here again, and then you can check your work. number 13. If you're still working on it, take your time. I got 5.5, negative 3. You get that? Good, yay. Okay. All right, is anybody still working on this page? Totally okay if you are. Okay, moving on. Last page. The end is near. Now, this last page, the biggest mistakes I saw every single time I give this quiz is that people assume this is one problem. This is two problems. Okay. Number 14, you're naming the coordinates. Number 15, these are different coordinates. Okay, so this is not all one problem. Two problems. And this time we're using the distance formula. So I would recommend write the distance formula on the top of this page so you do not have to dig through your notes. And let's find that distance formula. I think I have it, but I don't remember. Oh, here it is. Okay. Or just put it on a sticky note. So I'll zoom in on that. Remember, it's that x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And all of that is under a big square root. So, number 14, we need to begin by naming our coordinates. So, my higher point, my top point, what is my x value? Good, negative 1. And my y, negative 2. And for my lower coordinate, what is my x value? 3, good. And my y? Negative 4, perfect. Okay. So, I'm just going to plug those in to my formula. I'm going to write them, or I guess I'm going to label them. My x1, x2, y1, y2. And I might do this one on a sticky note. So I have okay. What numbers go in my first two blanks? Negative 2 and negative 1. Now, be careful on this one. We want both of the x's, x2 minus x1 in the first blank. So what's my, yes, 3. Keep the minus because that's part of the formula. 3 minus negative 1. And what did you ask right before that?
Does it make it 1?
Yes, it does. When you have minus a negative, absolutely. This turns into 3 plus 1. Okay, and then my next two blanks, my y's, what do I put there? Yes, negative 4 minus negative 2. So again, that will become negative 4 plus 2. Okay. So, now we're just going to continue simplifying everything. 3 plus 1 is 4 squared plus Negative 4 plus 2. What's that? Negative 2. Good. Negative 2 squared. And we still have to do the square root at the end. Okay, so now I do 4 squared, which is 4 times 4, which is what? 16. Perfect. So I have 16 plus negative 2 squared. Ooh, you're very close. If you square a number, will it ever become... Ah, I know. The calculator is going to mess you up on that one. Anytime that you are typing in a negative number squared, negative 2 squared, yeah, it's going to give you the wrong answer. It's always going to be better to either do negative 2 times negative 2, or to type parenthesis negative 2 parenthesis square, or to just do 2 squared. Because a negative times a negative is a positive. So I have 16 plus 4 under the square root. Now what? 20 under the square root. 4.47. So let me review how we get that square root just in case. Remember, we're just going to push the second button, the blue button at the top left. You'll see the arrow pop up, go down and hit x squared. There is your square root right above it. There you go. 20, enter. 4.47 is our answer.
Did you say this is the exit ticket?
Yes.
So turn it into...
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Did you get to do the bonus yet?
No, I gotta go.
Oh, okay.
Get my kids food for break.
Oh, well, you do what you gotta do.
And I like doing it while they're still babies.
Right.
So don't worry about it.
Totally get it.
I did finish.
Good deal. Okay, any questions on 14? Any questions at all? Okay. Last one then, number 15. Same thing, you're going to find the distance. Label your points first. X1, X. So X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And then we're just plugging into the formula. So I've got in my first two blanks -4 minus 3. And in my next blanks I've got 0 minus 8. So I've got -7 squared plus -8 squared. All under a square root. And you should get 49 plus 64 under the square root. Let's see, 49 plus Perfect. Square root of 113. And the final answer would be 10.6. Perfect. 10 point, I'm going to put 6.3 just so I've got one more unit. But if you put 10.6, I would still count it right. Okay, 10.6 or 10.63. Amazing. Okay, guys, that's it. That's the whole practice quiz, other than the bonus question, which I'm going to show you. However, if your brain is fried and you don't care to try the bonus, you're free to go. But I am going to run through it because the bonus on your actual quiz is going to be quite similar to this. So, I'm actually going to do this on a separate sheet of paper. I didn't give you a whole lot of room, so you could do it the same way, or you could do it on the back, or you could try to squeeze it all in. So the bonus is to draw a picture that represents this situation, and then you're going to solve for x. Down here, you're going to solve for the length of the segment AB, solve for BC, solve for AC. Sounds like a lot, but as soon as you see it, it really isn't too bad. So the situation is a segment labeled AC contains a midpoint B. Let's start there. That means there is a line segment with endpoints A, C. Okay? I'm going to connect these dots. That is my line segment. Okay, so segment AC contains a midpoint B. So all I have to do there is, I'm just going to kind of guess about the middle, and I'm going to put another point, B. So now I have ABC. I've drawn the picture. Now to show that this is a midpoint, just like when we do a perpendicular bisector, what do I need to put on these line segments to show they're equal? Yeah, those little dashes, those little tick marks. So even if you don't solve all the lengths in this problem, you will get some points just for drawing this picture. Do it. It's so silly not to. It's like free points, guys. Okay? So, to the next part. It says if AB, so this part, is 3x plus 10. So I'm going to write that here. From A to B, it's 3x plus 10. And BC is x plus 2. So here's BC, x plus 2. What is the value of x? Okay, and then what is the length of AB, BC, and AC? So I have these two values, and I know they're equal to each other. What equation could I write to solve for x? Now this isn't an angle, just a line segment. I am going to use 3x plus 10 and x plus 2. Do I know that they add up to something? Are they equal to each other? Or they're equal to each other, yeah. So you just write an equal sign in the middle of them. 3x plus 10 equals x plus 2. Okay. So, how do I solve this? Combine your like terms. So, what do you want to combine first? The 10 and 2? Okay, so how do you want to do that? Minus 10 or minus 2? Minus 2? Okay, so minus 2 on both sides. And once you do that, what does that leave you with? 8. Good. So I have 3x plus 8 equals x. Okay, what could we do from here? We do still have more like terms that need to be combined. Yeah, the 3x and the x. Now, since they're not on the same side of the equal sign, we can't just add them together and say 4x. What do I need to do to... Yes, we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. Now, remember, when you have x by itself, there is an invisible positive 1 there. So it's not just going to be negative 3x over here. It's 1 minus 3x, basically. 1x minus 3x. What will that give us? Good, negative 2x. Bring down my equal, bring down my 8. One last step. Divide. Divide by negative 2 on both sides. And x equals negative 4. Okay, so x equals negative 4. Now, this is obviously not a real scenario because you're not going to ever have a negative length. But, no problem, thank you. But, we're just going to pretend. So, on your practice quiz, under the bonus areas, we just solved for x. That's negative 4. Okay? Now, what I can do to find the rest is I can plug in my x value to these other values that I don't know. AB is the same as BC, so when I plug in negative 4 to both of these, I'm going to get the same answer, or at least I should. So would it be easier for me to plug negative 4 into 3x plus 10 or x plus 2? X plus 2. Save yourself the work. Don't do both. Just pick one. They're the same. So I'm just going to plug that in. Instead of x plus 2, I'm going to use negative 4 plus 2. And what is that? Negative 2. Again, you'll see this is where it's not realistic. Because we just solved for the length of B to C, and we got a negative number. That can't happen in real life, but, you know, it happens here. So, B to C is negative 2. What else do I know? I got x is negative 4. I solved for BC. Yes, AB is the same as BC, so it's also negative 2. Now, how would I find AC? Yep, you could just take AB times 2, so that negative 2 times 2. You can also add the negative 2 plus negative 2, because these two put together make the whole length. And what would that length be? Negative 4 again. Perfect. Okay, so strange numbers, but it works. That is your practice quiz. That's it. You guys have worked super crazy hard today. I've given you a lot. So, what we will do for the rest of class, I'm not going to do anything else with you guys. You're welcome to stay. You're welcome to go. Kind of just let this marinate. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. But I think tomorrow what we'll do is just, I want to give you guys the opportunity to ask any questions that arise over the evening. I think I would like to have this quiz available and ready for you. If any of you feel ready to take it tomorrow, I would like to give you guys that opportunity. Please know that when you take a quiz, it is open note. Everything that is on paper, you can use. You can use this. The practice quiz is considered notes. It will be all things that you see on the quiz. I keep this here. You can also make corrections. So I would take it as soon as possible so that, you know, if you get something wrong, you have the rest of the week to make corrections. But I think that's going to be our plan. Tomorrow I will have that quiz ready. We will have time for review. And that's what we're going to do. So, you guys are free to go. I appreciate you all. The end.